We are joined in studio, as always, by Mr. Mo Khan. What's going on, Mo?
As it is right now, it is very cold in Montreal.
Thank you, Mo.
It'll be very cold for the next few days, according to my weather report. And people mock me for wearing sweatpants.
Yes.
I'm
Yes, they do.
curious to know, what is the per capita? How many people are wearing sweatpants on this very evening, going into Wednesday, into Thursday, Friday?
Yeah.
And, of course, the weekend's supposed to taper off to -6, -1 temperatures.
Taper off to -6.
Yes.
Ugh, where the hell do we live? I'm probably going to wear my winter jacket to bed. So, yes, I'm not making fun of your sweatpants tonight. That's for sure.
I advise everyone to park their cars in the garage, if they can.
If they can.
Yes.
All right. Fair enough. Game points here on TSN 690. Also in studio helping us out, to Stefano Micella. How you doing, sir?
Very well, very well.
That's a shot at Mo Khan, isn't it?
I heard he got you the big invite to the Micella compound on Sunday.
Yes, I'm contemplating it. We'll wrestling pay-per-view. We'll talk about that.
Yes.
Hey, you're like begging me to come, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Begging. I would love to hear that audio.
You know, you should have a bouncer in front of the Micella compound and have him wait by the rope.
Very
1 second,
nice.
please, sir.
Very
It's a
nice.
little busy inside.
On the board this evening, the most polite gentleman here at the studios on 1310 Green Avenue, Jimmy G.
Well, I consider myself the second most polite person behind MK.
Thank you, Jim. You're the man.
No, you're not.
And I don't
You're not
mock
behind Mo
Khan,
Khan in any respect.
More airtime on Thursday for you, my
of
friend.
course, and no mocking of Mo Khan for his use of sweatpants. At least not from me.
All right, Jimmy, that's enough. It's game points here on TSN 690. As Canadians win this evening, my observations, better game than Saturday in terms of excitement, a little more interesting. But boy, how bad were the Panthers tonight? Just no energy, very listless performance. Scott Clemenson's their goaltender. I mean, at what point do the Florida Panthers look at putting Markstrom in nets? I mean, this guy was golden last year in the limited time he did get. No, they're going to screw around with these other goaltenders. And I'm not sure what Dale Talon's doing, especially when you have a guy like Versteeg out of the lineup. You have to have the best goaltending possible. And I don't think Scott Clemenson gives you your best opportunity to win NHL hockey games. It's just my opinion. Am I wrong on that? Is anybody going to dispute me on the fact that Theodore and Clemenson are not as good as the potential of Markstrom and actually what he showed in his starts last year?
Well,
I didn't like Florida's game at all tonight. Just no effort and no energy. And, you know, who can blame them? No preseason games, third game in 4 nights, coming in to the Bell Center against a team who hadn't played in a couple of days. A mismatch on paper, and if the Canadians didn't win this game, then there would have been something wrong. Very, very wrong.
Well, obviously, the cold weather had a big say for the Florida Panthers. But, I mean, you're right,
You
though.
realize that most of these players are from climates that have winter, right?
Well,
you know that
they live in South Florida.
Kovalev didn't grow up on the sandy beaches of Cuba, right? You realize that, right?
Well, you never know.
And the game was indoors.
Yes, thank you, Stefano.
But the whole idea of transferring yourself from the bus to the arena. But you see, this whole game went down perfectly for the Habs. They got everything that they wanted from Galchenyuk gets his first goal. Markov gets 2 goals, power play goals. By the way, his first 2-goal power play goals in one game since December of 2009 against the Islanders. So really what you hoped for happened for the Habs today, and that's what Michel Therrien wants for this team. Sure, the Lars Eller benching was not really liked by some Habs fans out there going, David Desharnais being the number one guy, but you have to experiment right now because in this race, you can't stick with the same lines game in and game out if it's not working for you. Michel Therrien thought, look, let me sit Eller down. Let's see what happens first with this team. And then from there, if we have success, we keep with it and play with it as long as we can until we lose our next game, whenever that may be, whether it's on Thursday in D.C. or Sunday evening in Montreal against the Devils.
Listening to Tony Marinaro earlier today here on TSN 690, I agreed with him. I didn't like to see Lars Eller left aside for the game. You can't argue with the results, though, and I don't know necessarily if that was all because of Lars Eller sitting in the press box, but you had to love the energy of Brendan Gallagher driving to the net. You had to love Rene Bourque driving to the net. You had to love the feistiness and the toughness of Colby Armstrong and Brandon Prust. I still haven't seen the best, I don't think, out of Eric Cole yet this season. Same for Max Pacioretty. Same for David Desharnais, who took a bad tripping penalty, I think it was, tonight. But, again, this is not a team on paper that's expected to contend for the Stanley Cup. So if that's the situation, then why not play Galchenyuk, and why not play Brendan Gallagher? And by that same extension, why not play Lars Eller? You know, it's fish or cut bait with a guy like this in Lars Eller. Either he's going to play, he's going to be part of your future, or he's not. And, you know, maybe you have him as a winger and you have Galchenyuk as a center. I don't know, but it just seems counterproductive to have a guy like that in the press box. We'll see if he bounces back. We'll see if Michel Therrien inserts him into the lineup. I think the old adage of a coach doesn't like to tinker with a winning formula will probably stay true, and you'll probably see the same lineup once again in Washington. But this is a Montreal Canadiens team that's clearly played a lot better than last time out. Every point counts in this NHL, and for the Panthers, boy, what a rough start to the year it's been for them, huh? I mean, well, you had a nice opening night with Jonathan Huberdeau picking up 3 points, but the last couple nights have been rough for them in terms of Ottawa and Montreal losses. But we can't say it's a long season, right? Oh, it's a long season. It's a long season. No, it's not. 46 games left for the Canadiens, 45 games left for the Florida Panthers. Game points here on TSN 690. Stefano Michel is helping us out. He's digging into the numbers. What do you have for us, Stefano?
Well, some interesting stats in terms of ice time. Francis Bouillon playing 23 minutes, whereas Andrei Markov was playing at 23:06. So Bouillon's second most ice time on the Canadiens. And meanwhile, Thomas Caberlet, severely demoted tonight, only 12 minutes of ice time. And for a defenseman, that's rather low.